Lake Champlain and the Champ Cryptid. Referred to as the Champ Cryptid, a popular Canadian monster residing deep within Lake Champlain, this creature has proven to be one of the most legendary monsters ever residing within the Canadian border. Located within the Canadian province of Quebec is that of Lake Champlain, a freshwater lake that holds more than 300 reported sightings of the serpentine-like creature that many claim is perhaps a distant cousin to that of the Loch Ness Monster. High-quality photographs taken back in 1977 that have been proven to be authentic have been gathered of the creature that show a plesiosaur-like body that leads many researchers to believe that perhaps this creature, as well as the Loch Ness Monster, could be a surviving modern-day species of the plesiosaur that must spawn in freshwater lakes at specific times of the year. Additionally, a recent camera recording of the Champ Cryptid, taken back in 2005 by a fisherman named Dick Affolter and his stepson Pete Baudet, showed video evidence of the Champ Cryptid monster moving throughout the waters during the reported sighting. After two retired FBI forensic image specialists reviewed the footage, they found it to be authentic and unmanipulated. Scientific proof of the creature's existence has also been gathered in the modern day after a team of marine specialists working for the Fauna Communications Research Institute used an echolation device to map the bottom of the lake, only to pick up an unknown marine animal sound similar to that of the beluga whale, but from no known marine animal in existence. Today, the monster is revered as a status symbol to that of the Loch Ness Monster and has become the center of cryptid enthusiasts attempting to prove the viability of a surviving plesiosaur species in the modern day. The copper receipt of the Sumerians. Often regarded by researchers as being the oldest surviving written account in human history, others have referred to the copper receipt of the Sumerians as the oldest customer service document to have ever existed. Within this strange tablet, written with cuneiform, details a strange story featuring two shopkeepers, a messenger, and a number of references to raiders and tribesmen attacking the region. According to the copper receipt, the writer of the tablet, a business owner, had made a deal with another Sumerian business owner detailing the sale of a large amount of high-quality copper to be used for crafting. According to the writer, he had sent a messenger to the other business owner to retrieve the high-quality copper. However, the business owner took back his word and kept the payment ahead of time and told the messenger to take back a low grade of copper and that he should take it or leave it, but that nothing would change. This angered the writer as he claims to have been a good business partner and does not understand where this sudden disrespect came from, and that he demanded to be reimbursed with the higher grade of copper, as he claimed that the messenger does not have an easy task as he must venture between unsafe lands that hold raiders and attackers waiting to steal goods of all kinds. This has led researchers to believe the businesses, markets, trades and contracts were far more complex than originally imagined, and that the technology used by human beings must have been on par to that of later dynasties given the references to weapons, use of metals and coppers, as well as the intricate use of language involving cuneiform that had previously believed to have been limited. Johann Georg Faust's deal. The strange tale of Johann Georg Faust holds a number of details that have left many wondering if such a person had ever once existed in the first place. In fact, back in the early 17th century, many had believed that the tale of Johann Georg Faust was nothing more than a fictitious piece, only later to be confirmed by additional accounts made by a variety of other individuals. According to the story of Johann Georg Faust, he had started his education at an incredibly young age, first studying to become a physician. It would not be long before he would boast to be one of the greatest doctors of his time, and would go on to learn a variety of other fields, such as becoming a doctor of philosophy, a brilliant alchemist, an astronomer, an astrologer, and then finally, feeling dissatisfied with the pursuit of science, one of the greatest magicians the world has ever known. In multiple accounts of Johann Georg Faust, he was turned away by the churches of his time that claimed he had given his life to the evil of magic, after he began boasting to anyone passing by that he was such a powerful magician that he could replicate every single miracle that Christ himself had once performed. Bored with his power, he used his magical ability to summon the devil himself and worked to make a deal with him. The deal was that he would exchange his soul with the devil if the devil would join him and serve him for a full 24 years in return. This would lead the devil to conjure up anything that Johann Georg Faust desired, including food, drinks, and a variety of other wants and needs. After roughly 16 years of service, Johann Georg Faust attempted to break the pact, but was persuaded by the devil to enjoy it and renew the contract for the remaining 8 years after he had conjured up Helen of Troy to marry him. On the last day of the deal, the devil claimed that by midnight, Johann Georg Faust would die. As foretold, when midnight came around, many heard a loud explosion come from the room of Johann Georg Faust, and his body found in pieces all throughout the area. A new queen of the 5th dynasty. One of the most puzzling questions for Egyptologists has been trying to get an accurate timeline of the reign of the pharaohs and dynasties of ancient Egypt to better understand the developments and policy changes at what specific times in history they played out. Though there are many missing pieces to the puzzle of Egypt all throughout history, there was none more so puzzling than the ruler of Egypt following the demise of Pharaoh Neferefre. The Pharaoh Neferefre was the 4th pharaoh of the 5th dynasty, taking leadership shortly after the passing of his father, and spent his first few years finishing his father's pyramid, laying the foundations for his own as well as working on a project known as Hotep Re, of which was a sun temple that would have been the location of offerings to the god Ra. Unfortunately for the pharaoh, he would pass away under mysterious circumstances after only a few years of ruling and would die in his early 20s. This meant that for quite a long period of time, there was no male successor to Egypt, and Egyptologists were uncertain as to who exactly remained in power during this time. Recently, however, new evidence has surfaced that leads many researchers to believe that a secret queen of Egypt had ruled during this time in place of a male successor. Back in 2015, Egyptologists unearthed an unfinished pyramid that was located nearby the tomb of Pharaoh Neferefre, leading researchers to believe that the tomb was that of his queen. Additionally, the walls of the tomb are inscribed with hieroglyphics that claim the woman who inhabits the tomb was both the wife and mother of the pharaoh. Given the fact that ancient Egyptians were obsessed with covering up any female rulers of history, as was seen with Hatshepsut, another female queen, this has led many to connect the puzzle that this new tomb might be that of a missing queen and 5th ruler of the 5th dynasty. Lake Anjikuni's disappearing village. One of the strangest mysteries surrounding an unexplainable disappearance to have ever occurred centers around that of Lake Anjikuni and an age-old claim of a disappearing village. According to residents that live nearby the region, many have heard the rumor that back in the early 1930s, there used to exist a small Inuit village with a population somewhere between 25 to 30 that resided at the shores of Lake Anjikuni and had been there for many years, though unspecified. For some strange reason, however, the entire village was abandoned in less than a day after a lone trapper by the name of Joe LaBelle visited the village only to find that everyone was missing. According to Mr. LaBelle, the villagers had left everything behind with no sign of a struggle. Among their artifacts were food, clothing, rusted rifles, half-cooked meals, and small kayaks that had been pulled into the village rather than left at the shores of the lake. Given the fact that the disappearance had taken place during November of 1930, it is hard to imagine that any of the residents had survived after seemingly fleeing their village for reasons not understood. This would ultimately lead to an investigation by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police the following year, of which would look into the entire event but would unfortunately find no evidence of a struggle of any kind. In fact, they found no such village of any kind that had been left standing and had merely assumed the entire event to have been a hoax, despite Joe LaBelle sticking with his story and a number of individuals nearby claiming to have remembered a small village residing at the shores. The stories surrounding the lake grow increasingly weird over the years, as few have claimed that when visiting the region, they had seen a small village on the shores in the distance, only to witness it disappear in a dense rolling fog passing by. Some believe that perhaps the area is now a paranormal hotspot after the disappearance of the village, while others theorize far more fantastical theories. Some claim extraterrestrial life was responsible, others believe the village could be moving through time. Regardless of the claims, however, the lake and its village remain a mystery.